My name is Claire. I'm a Rwandese living in Canada, British Columbia, and I'm a digital business owner. As I promised, today I have a very special guest, one of our successful people in our community. I will give him time to introduce himself, then we go on.
Yeah.
Why can't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, definitely, Claire. So hi everyone. My name is Paulo. I am so originally like I'm in Vancouver based here right now, but originally from the Philippines. I was born there, but moved to Calgary when I was a baby. So Calgary has been my hometown. Grew up there, and I moved around quite a bit because after I graduated from nursing school, I worked in as a nurse at one of the hospitals there in Calgary for a few years. And then afterwards, I moved out to Vancouver, worked at Vancouver General Hospital for a few years as well. I was working in respiratory medicine, thoracic surgery, and then I decided to move over to England, over across the water. So I worked out there for about a year doing GI surgery, and then went back to Calgary afterwards because I got a job opportunity working in oncology clinical trials. So I worked at Tom Baker for a couple years. And then moved back to Vancouver after. So I worked as a oncology clinical trials nurse at BC Cancer here at the Vancouver location. And I burnt out after, I mean, I was working there for almost 6 years when I burnt out and I couldn't handle anymore, decided to leave and quit nursing and entirely working at the BC Cancer and work for a pharmaceutical company for a couple of years. So I was doing like a corporate sort of job. I was in clinical trials, but I was doing more like real-time auditing. And I burnt out there too after a couple of years because although I was able to work from home, I was doing 10, 16-hour days on the computer, and I was traveling between 6 to 8 times during a month between British Columbia and Alberta. And so it was really busy and I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I quit and went back to BC Cancer as a nurse, working casually. And then, yeah, last year I just decided to take a break from nursing and focus on the business, and just went casual as well for nursing and just worked on the business full time, where I was able to, become a digital nomad. I did it in not last year, the year before. I did it in March of 2020. Before during the pandemic, I was down there, and then again I went down in November to February. Worked down there with my business, and then decided to come back just with everything that was going on. And and here I am back in Vancouver.
Wow, nice.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
good introduction.
Yeah, I know it's so I can't really keep it short because at least it gives really people an idea that a lot of people within our business community come from so many different professional careers or even just multiple jobs, and it just goes to show you that we're everyday people that have just decided that enough's enough, and that there's better things out there. There's better ways to earn supplemental income so that you're not financially strapped and feeling stressed out all the time. And and that's where myself and Claire, like, we've just joined a really nice business community. And when I started, because when I started my business is about 4.5 years ago, we were a small community. We only had about 300-ish people within the community. Just letting people know now, and then like fast forward to now, there's over I think over 23,000 people globally. And so we're basically, there's a lot of us within our business community that are in every continent in this world. Just represent that it's not just within Canada, it's a global thing that people are realizing that there has to be a better way. So
Exactly. I was shocked too when I saw like doctors, the ones who are making more money. They are here in business. What are they doing here? But
Yeah. I even had a potential person still in chats with her who's a medical lawyer, and she's interested in the business, and she was had all these questions, and being a lawyer and a medical lawyer, and like it was just like a lot to kind of like just making sure I've answered all her questions correctly, because you know them, they're just based on facts.
Mm.
That's all they go by. And she's like, no, you know, your system, your business model, it looks great. It's something that I would definitely look into. And so it's just certain times the people will jump in. Sometimes it may not be the right time. It's just really up to that person. So yeah, like what Claire said, we have every people from all different work backgrounds. We've got different people from, like, I think the youngest is 18 that I saw within our
Yeah,
business community, and there's people in their 70s that are doing this business. So age isn't something that should stop people from, you know, looking into this, which I think is awesome because it shows you that anything's possible.
exactly. Goes to my question number one.
Yeah.
Like, you said you started this business like 4 years and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
Where did you get the idea for this business? Like,
How,
I
like,
want
why
to hear
is,
about it. Like,
yes. So
where did the idea come from?
well, it came from, actually, I knew the founders, the guys that created this group. So I knew one of them, and I knew him as a friend before, and I was just following them on social media, and I think over a year I was following them, and I was just seeing, you know, all their, you know, slow successes that were happening, and I was just curious because I was, like I said, I burnt out twice in my profession, and I said I couldn't do it again because physically it's just hard on the body, emotionally and mentally too. And I kept thinking to myself, I can't keep doing this. Like, it's
Mhm.
insanity. To keep thinking you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking that it's going to change, but it doesn't. And so when I saw, you know, I saw that there's my, you know, their successes, and then I realized I need to look into it. And so I just, you know, looked into it, and then from there, I just felt like this is the right path that I've, you know, that I should be going down. And it was my gut feeling that this is something that kept drawing me into it. Although I didn't know much at the time about how to do things, it just told me, like, something just told me, like, just keep going at it and just keep looking into it further. So
Mhm. Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing. Really
yeah,
amazing. It was like, what? 4 years.
yeah, yeah,
That's really interesting. So, what pushes you that time? Like, you were a nurse, you said,
yeah, yeah.
and
So I
you
was,
saw that
yeah.
because of your friend. Like,
Yeah, so besides just being a nurse and a friend, the other part too, like a couple of my other whys, is because I, with my sort of introduction, I talked about all the different places I worked in. And as a nurse, your seniority level for pay doesn't start from scratch, but your vacation starts from
mm,
scratch. And so being a nurse for over 18 years now, I only have about 3 weeks vacation, which is what most other people do. But all my other colleagues who I graduate with, they've stayed, most of them stayed in their job role in their hospitals for quite a while. They get almost like 6 to 8 weeks vacation. And for me, I don't think that's fair that just because I was changing locations that my vacation has to suffer. Especially with the line of work that I do as a nurse, it's a stressful job, and only having 2 or 3 weeks vacation an entire year isn't enough for me. So that was one of the reasons. The other reason is because my mom, who retired, she's just got enough pension money to be able to just, you know, pay her expenses, but not be able to enjoy her retirement. And so I want to help her out. And then thirdly is just wanting to just have more financial freedom and time freedom. And so those are the reasons why I sort of, you know, wanted to look into this online business at the beginning.
mm,
And it's helped because even with the whole last year being able to focus on the business, I was able to spend all that time on the business. But the beauty part with this, with our training site, is like, I know it takes 2 weeks, about roughly 2 to 3 weeks to get started. But after that, once you are in the maintenance phase, it takes about, you know, you can spend an hour to a few hours a day, and that's it. And it's fun. Like, for me, it's not even work. I find a lot of it because we use social media to sort of leverage, like, we leverage social media to help people, you know, create these online businesses. But it's like you're just talking to random friends and people, and it's something that you're already doing, but you're doing it personally, but we teach people to switch that mindset and do it as a business part of it, and you use it as a business tool, and then like I said, it doesn't feel like it's work.
Mm,
And that's what I enjoy about it too. And that's why it only like and it only takes me like an hour. I only spend about an hour, 2 hours a day on my business, and I can spend more if you want. But once you get things set up, it's like it's manageable because you can do this on the side, even if you're working a full-time job, or if you're working multiple part-time jobs, it's manageable. I just find that with my experience and people that I've seen that failed and people that haven't failed, the one key thing is just making sure that you treat the business like a business and don't treat it as a hobby. Because if you treat it like a hobby, it's always going to be like, oh, no, it's fine. It's like exercising. You're like,
right.
oh, I'll go to the gym, but I don't feel like it, so I'll go tomorrow. It's the same thing. If you don't actually change that mindset and then actually force yourself to do it, and same here with like applying it to a business, then you're not going to succeed. So,
Mm,
yeah.
okay. So as you said before, how many were you when you joined this community? Like
So
4 years
there's
ago,
I
full
Yeah,
time.
so I think I was number 332 or 34. So
Wow.
yeah, and I think well, no, I don't think I think this whole pandemic has really shown people that they can't rely on their current day jobs, because I've heard people who lost their jobs because even though they've been working for a company for so long, and so they say even just trying to be financially ahead, you have to have multiple streams of income coming in. You can't just rely on one job. And I think that's where a majority of a lot of people are in that position, is that they just rely on their day job.
Mm,
And when you're working for somebody else, it makes it tough because I know some people who like you have to keep working and working, uh, in order to be able to get a raise or to get your bonus. I remember working for that pharmaceutical company. I had to literally write down every tiny little thing I did extra just so I can um, give supporting examples of why I should get my bonus.
mm,
And this is like going above and beyond. Like I was doing a lot of things in my personal time, just trying to organize meetings, do some projects, and like it was cutting into my yeah, I think it's like cutting into my personal time that I had no time to do anything else. And for me, that isn't living. It's not living whatsoever.
wow. So the next question, what's the
Yeah.
uniqueness of this digital business? Because we have like tons and tons of
Yeah.
business online, but
Yeah.
as a co-founder, you are one of the founder of this community, as I saw, like admin. So what's
Hmm.
the uniqueness of this digital business compared to other ones that we are seeing outside?
Yeah. So I think the very unique thing with our business are first of all, our training is step by step. It's accessible 24/7. Anyone can access it. Anyone it can use it and be trained on it. Like I said, we have 7-year-olds who are just starting off, people who have no tech issues. It's all
Mm,
video based, so it's something you can easily do. The other thing is the community. We've created such a supportive community that with any business owners, there's always going to be ups and downs. And so when you have those down moments, you can always reach out to somebody and they'll keep pushing you. And when you think you should just give up, and so that's what I think a lot of people within our community is so successful. And then the other thing is the portability to be able to go anywhere and still do your work. Like even though when I was in Mexico, in February, or sorry, November to February, yeah, I was working, but I mean, a lot of times I was able to, do a lot of things in between. Like I was able to work out during the day. I was able to go for walks, go to the market, go to the beach, go for day trips. So it was so flexible, because as long as you have your phone,
mhm.
you can go anywhere. And so even though I was at the beach, I was still working a bit and taking a few minutes here and there. But like I said, it's not work. It's like you're combining personal and work things together, that it just kind of goes seamlessly together, that you can just, do your regular thing that you would get to do, but you just have more time to have fun and enjoy life. So
Right.
yeah.
Uh, Another curious question, how did you guys like think about other people? Like, let's create this community so that everyone will be able to join us and grow, you know?
Yeah, so I think that started just with people just trying to reach out and advertise to other communities and other countries. Because at first, when the group started, we were only doing North America,
Mhm.
like US and Canada, and then from there, people just started branching out, and then like I would say that's year two when I started, and then thereafter it just exploded. Like Europe started, then after that South America, then after that it was like Africa, then Australia, New Zealand, Asia. Like it just blew up. And yeah, I think it's just people that just got curious and just said, I'll just try it and see, because I find like what we have is a gold mine. It's something that um, the founders have created and the community has created this to be a very supportive community, and it's a legitimate business. It's a long-term business. If you're looking to find something as a quick rich thing, this isn't for you. Look elsewhere, because and we tell you up front, like if you are looking to find some to make quick income, we tell you this isn't the type of business for you, because this is, like I said, long term, something that you can pass on to your family members later on down the road if something happens to you, if you or if you can't do the business. So yeah, that's how it all worked, and I'm glad it did, because I mean I find like I've met so many people within our community, more on online space. I haven't met them in person yet, but because you talk with them so long, you do face to face things like with Claire and me, you get to
Mhm.
know these people. And by the time you actually meet them in person, you forget that you haven't even met them in person. So
I know. Wow.
yeah.
That's interesting. Thanks to you
Hmm.
guys for thinking about us. We couldn't have
Yeah.
known this.
Yeah.
So, the next question is, how has being an entrepreneur affected your life? Like 4 years and a half being in this business,
Yeah.
there's a change, right?
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, all of you are probably not aware is that I I had stage fright growing up as a kid since grade five. I was afraid to go in front of people. Being a Filipino background, a lot of Filipinos love to sing karaoke. I can't even sing karaoke in front of my family members. I just start
Mhm.
sweating and all that stuff. So this business has allowed me to become more comfortable being in front of the camera, just not really caring about what people think. Because like when I'd be walking around my phone, like doing like a go live or doing like a video, I don't. Before I used to be like embarrassed to do it out in the public, but now I don't really care as much anymore. And it's allowed me to become more creative. I found, because I was working before a lot of my creative side just kind of got buried, and so it's nice to being able to bring it back into my life again. And then it's allowed me to know that I can step away from something that is like my nursing job, a union job, that I can step away from it and then build this and say that it is possible. And I want to be able to be a role model, show my other friends who are in professional careers, that they too can step out of it and create this type of online business that they can actually call their own.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Wow, nice. I'm inspired by that. What piece of advice would you give to someone who want to become an entrepreneur, especially in this digital business?
Business. So do your homework. Definitely ask questions, do your homework, watch those webinars, and go with your gut. There are scams out there, and so that's why we say do your due diligence, ask all the right questions, and if something isn't right, then ask more questions. But if it is right, then we kind of just go towards that. Uh, People have to realize that last year, like I already mentioned before, last year has shown us that we're all vulnerable working for somebody else. And you have to ask yourself, where am I going to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And if you're in your day job and you're finding that, oh, I might not, maybe I'll get another extra dollar an hour next year. Maybe I'll get a couple $1,000 bonus. But I know a lot of us are working from home, but it's giving us I find it's a little bit intrusive in a way, that because a lot of us haven't know they don't know how to work from home, that a lot of even my other colleagues, like I took on this this contract dropped when I got back to Vancouver, but these other colleagues of mine are working like weekends, they're working evenings, and they don't get paid for it. I'm like, why are you guys doing that? And so you have to kind of evaluate your life and see like, is this the kind of life you want to keep continuing to live? And like, do you still want to keep living a paycheck to paycheck or not being able to put money aside for savings? Ask yourself that. And if you find that there's nothing that you're currently doing that's going to change that sort of situation, then start looking elsewhere online, because online there's so many opportunities. Yeah, the internet's
Mhm.
been around for a little bit, but it's still quite young with businesses, and there are legit businesses out there. You just need to find the right group and right community to get in contact with. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my advice for people is just, yeah, just have multiple streams of revenue coming in. Don't rely on just one.
Oh, yeah. And for those one who think like maybe I have a family, but I don't know if I can manage this, you know,
Yeah,
I don't know if I will get time to run my business, because many people think this business has, okay, it's like a physical business, but it has a different, because you can do it whenever you are. So for those people who are still thinking like, I don't think I will get time to do this, and I don't know how to use maybe technology or maybe
yeah,
to use social medias.
yeah.
How can
So
you?
I would, people who say that is that I think that's an excuse to because of fear. Um, like I said, we have over 23,000 people in this community, and there are single mothers. There are people who have like multiple kids and still working full-time jobs and managing this. There are people who don't have the technology skills to do it, but they're still be able to manage this as well. So I think a lot of it is just trying to get over your fear, the fear to that you're going to fail. I think um, we're so taught to ask ourselves, "What if I fail?" instead of asking yourself, "What if I actually succeed?" I think a lot of it too is mindset of knowing how to flip that and think more positive and kind of give yourself more support internally, because fear is going to be the thing that stops people from moving ahead. Fear and procrastination. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the next question is, what would you say are the top three things needed to become a successful digital business owner?
So the top three would be patience, motivation, and not being afraid to ask questions. So,
Nice.
mhm.
I kept that in my mind too.
Yeah,
It will help
yeah,
me even if I'm running my business already. But yeah, that would be really helpful to me and to anyone who is watching us now.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
The next question, how do you see the future of this digital business? Is it the thing that is going to be over like maybe soon as other business?
No,
What's the future of this like?
I think everyone's going to see more and more of this. There's going to be different types of online businesses, but you're going to see more of this because, like I said, we've got, as long as you can have access to Wi-Fi, you have the ability to create an online business. So it's not going to go away anytime soon, unless there's a big like crash with Wi-Fi internet. I think that's the only time. But no, everything is all done on our phones. I don't
Mm.
know, like I do banking on phone. I shop online. I book trips. I look on Google Maps. Like I do a lot of things on my phone, and so a lot of business are doing the same thing too. So yeah, it's not going away. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So guys, you heard from the one of the co-founder of our community. It's not gonna be over soon. Uh, how do you explain, how can you explain success? What does success mean to you?
So for me, when I first started, I was like, success to me was like, I want to make money. But that, as I started by doing my business, that got pushed aside. And it's more success to me is being able to help people discover that there is a better way. When I hear friends and families that are struggling, friends and families that don't have enough time to spend with their family or their people they care about because they're just so overworked, um, that's where I want to be able to be successful, is being able to give them an option show them that there is a way out, because there's more to living than just working. And I know this, after work, talking to hundreds of oncology patients in my job, you know, a lot of I've spoken to a lot of like family members and patients, and the common theme or topic out of their whole discussion is time. They wanted more time to spend with their family, wanted to see their more time to see their grandkids grow up. They wanted to be able to see their daughter go down the aisle. Like, it's time that we can't take back. And so you just have to ask yourself, am I willing to spend my time and energy on something that doesn't make me happy, or do I want to spend it on something that I'm passionate about, something that I can, enjoy and improve my quality of life? So
Mm,
yeah.
nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, Another question is this business something you can refer to maybe your colleague, maybe your siblings, or someone you
Yeah.
love, or someone you
Yes.
care about?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can. This is something a business can anyone can do, but it's a matter of, is that person willing to change? That's the thing. You can, it's like you can give somebody exercise like weights to say, here's something to help you build muscle, but it's up to them if they're willing to put in the work and, and build that muscle. Same thing with this business. I can give you the tools, I can show you what you can do, but if you're not ready for change, it's not going to happen. So I've told many friends about this. I mean, I post about it all the time on my social media, but I've only had, maybe after the last 4.5 years, maybe two, three friends of mine that
Wow.
actually decided, oh, let me look into this more. And that's it. And I know, like, not that I'm bragging, but I know hundreds of people, but it's really up to them if they're willing to get over that fear and explore something different, that something that we've never been taught. I mean, we've always been taught, when we're going to, get a good education, get married, buy a place, and all that stuff. But we've never been taught to be financially intelligent. Never been taught how to create businesses, and so on. And this is what over the last 4.5 years, I've been able to experience, is knowing all this stuff that was held back from being taught to us. So,
Okay. Thank you so much. We have been talking about overcoming our fears. How did you overcome your fears of starting this? Because nurses, I know, their job is hard somehow, but they
yeah,
like their career. And
yeah,
you are now committed to this business like full time. How did
yeah.
you overcome that fear saying, oh, I have to be full time in my
Yeah.
business? How?
So one of them is because I didn't want to hurt my body anymore physically. And then about 6 years ago, as I was diagnosed with a rare neuromuscular disorder. So it's a part of the brain that controls muscle movement, and it was sending too much to my neck here, and so I had no control of my head movement. My head was getting pulled to my right here aggressively every 2 to 3 seconds, and so there was a point where I was an independent person, and within a matter of 2 months was dependent. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't dress myself. I had my mom helping me with all that stuff. Like, it took me so many hours even just to get ready to like have a shower, brush my teeth, all that stuff. And so um, that's sort of like my thing that I told myself. And I knew it was triggered from work. I knew the stresses of working was triggered from that. And I told myself I can't let my body go through that again. And so that was one of the that was the one thing I told myself, I'm not going to let that happen again. The other thing too, just getting over fear, is just like repetitiveness. Like, even like I said, I have stage fright, but I just repeatedly just keep doing interviews, doing go lives, just being in front of the camera. Even with our business community, we have like our newbie Tuesdays sort of masterminds that I will present. And there's like over 500 plus people that attend that. And then we have this other thing where we interview people who have reached milestones that we have over, and it's live. And I do those interviews as well. So it's just really putting yourself out there, making yourself uncomfortable so that you can feel comfortable later and doing that. So a lot of it is just making myself, like I said, uncomfortable so that I can grow and just keep learning and just becoming a better me. That's what I like doing. I love change. And so
Oh,
I, yeah.
that's nice. Interesting. I
Yeah.
love that.
Hmm.
Um, one more question, but not the last. I'll be having one last question.
Okay.
Like, seeing how our community is growing day by day compared
Hmm.
to how many were you like in the past 4 years? How are you guys feels like seeing many people joining every day? What does
It,
feeling like?
it's a shock to me because sometimes I won't check the numbers in a week or couple weeks, and I just see the numbers grow. So it's surprisingly nice to see that people are actually waking up and realizing that they have the ability to create a better future for themselves, their family members. So it's nice to see that we are growing, and like I said, I don't think it's going to stop growing. It's just going to keep going and going. So it's always nice to see people joining in and looking into doing the business. So yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's nice. Then the last question. What can you tell those people who are willing to take a step or to make a change in their lives, but they are still having doubt? They're still not trusting these digital things because maybe they have been scammed with other businesses,
Hmm.
but they are willing to join, but they are still
Yeah.
having that skepticism in them.
Yeah. And I would say, that's valid to have that. It's rational to have that as a human being, especially because of past experiences. So, first of all, validate that for sure that that's right. And like I said, you have to do your homework, do your due diligence. But sometimes it's just taking that first step to doing it because, and it's the gut. It's the gut thing that I always tell people this is like if you're walking down an alley, like if you're walking at night and then you turn down an alley, it's at what 1 in the morning, your gut is going to tell you, oh, Paulo, this you shouldn't be doing this. Like there's something hard, like there might be something bad down there. So you fall. It's that same gut feeling. So if your gut is telling you yes, do it, just take that first step. But if your gut is saying no, don't do it, then just maybe take a step back and just reevaluate things, write things down of like the pros and cons of doing an online business. Because I find a lot of people, their ideas are floating in their heads, but they can't really, if it's not concrete, like written down on paper, then it doesn't actually become something they can look at. So if you're at that stage, write everything down, write the pros and cons. So I always tell people if you're trying to make a big decision in your life, trying to figure out what you should do, write a table where you write a question like, should I start an online business? Pros and cons. And then should I not start an online business? Pros and cons. And create every sort of thought or every point that you want. Write it
Mhm.
down. And then within a point system of 1 to 10, 10 being the most valued, one being the less, write a number beside each point that you've written down. And then at the end, you just add it up which box has the most numbers, and that will tell you a general idea of which is the best direction to go. If somebody wants more concrete way of doing it, that's the best way. I did that when I was deciding to, quit my nursing job, or when I decided to move back to Vancouver. So for me, I don't really base decision making on feelings. It's more factual information. So that's how I run my life, and it seems to work. And I offer that to other people to use that example if you are just trying to make a big decision.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the
Oh,
advices.
you're
Uh,
welcome.
so now I think yeah, we have used already 34 minutes. When I'm talking about this business, I can go on and go on and go on, but
Yeah.
it's easy for the people to watch like the video with a few minutes rather
Hmm.
than watching the 1 hour video. So, but
Yeah.
I will invite you again if you allow me to.
Yeah.
So the last thing you want to say to those people who are watching us now before we close?
Um, just thank you for taking your time to join us and watching us. And yeah, if you want to reach out to Claire or myself, we have our links down at the bottom. And yeah, that's it. And hopefully that you this inspired you to look for something better. I think everyone deserves to have a good quality life. It's just a matter of you getting over the fear and taking that first step. And then yeah, and you never know what you can do. I mean, I don't look back on what I've done. I don't regret any of the decisions I made. It's made me into a stronger, more positive person, and hopefully that will happen to you guys as well who are watching.